Okay, so today I've had requests to learn how to create a game. Alright, now I want you to think through this and watch what I'm doing. And when I was growing up, the first video game I ever encountered was a game called Pong. It was black and white, not in color, and it was certainly not high definition. But it was a pretty simple game. It's like playing table tennis or tennis or hockey, something to that effect. Okay, so I want you to watch as I kind of build this, and I want you to follow along and see if you can figure out what is happening with my programming, and I want you to build something similar. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to need to do is I need to create a sprite that's going to make my rink. So I'm going to make a new sprite and I'm going to draw my own. Alright, now watch what happens here. Alright, when I clicked on make a new sprite, paint new sprite, the little paintbrush there, it allows me to come to this palette and I can choose colors. I'm just going to, for the sake of my game and for nostalgia, which means remembering how things were when I was a kid, I'm going to create just a black and white game here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line and I'm going to create a sprite that doesn't look like a sprite. It's going to look like the hockey rink or the tennis court. Alright, I'm just going to draw it in black. I'm going to adjust my line size to be, that's fine. And I'm going to just draw a straight line, okay, so that I can make an edge there. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing here. See how I'm creating an edge, and then along over here, and then along over here. Alright, now that is going to make a kind of a court to play on like that. Now I want to get rid of an area here so that there'll be a place for my players to score, to try to get the ball to go in there, or the cat, or whatever I choose. So I'm going to take my eraser and make it a little smaller, and I think I'll make my score area maybe about that big. Okay. And over here the same, about that big. Okay, it's not perfect, but hey, I'm not perfect either. Okay, but I think I will put some color here, and you'll see why in just a little bit. I'm going to make one side be, let's say, red. Alright, and so I'm going to paint here red, and let's say over here green. Alright, now the reason I want to do that is so that I can keep score. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. Okay, and maybe just to make things pretty, I'll use some gray and draw the half court line. Now that's not going to matter because, so I'm just going to leave that like that. Alright, so there's my first sprite. Now this sprite is going to be the court. It's never actually going to move. I want to bring this one to, how can I bring that to the front? I don't know. Let's see. Well, anyway, let's see. I'm going to change this sprite. I want to have a sprite that will actually be, let's just make a new one, I guess. It's going to be like a ball or a hockey puck or something. So I think I'm going to choose, I'll choose this ball. You know what? It would be kind of funny if it was a balloon. I just got an idea in my head, so I think I'm going to do that. Alright, so I'm going to make my balloon here. I'm going to get rid of this sprite. I'm going to actually delete it. Alright, we're going to have a balloon here. Let's make it small enough that I think it'll go into, or it'll touch the green or the red. Alright, we always want it to start here. Okay. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to create a couple of new sprites also. Well, before I do that, let's just figure this out. What I want this thing to do is I want it to move. Alright, so I'm going to use the move 10 steps. Alright, and I want it to do that forever. Alright, so I'm going to click that. Let's just test it and see. Boom. Oh, it goes there. Alright, so let's stop that. We're good. So in the beginning of it, I want my balloon to go to this point, 2114. That's right there in the middle. That's where I want it to start in the beginning. Okay. And then I want it to maybe rotate, turn 15 degrees, and then move. What would happen here? Go. Boom, it goes down there. Now I don't have any if-then statements, so let's stop. Go there in the middle. Okay. I want it to, if it touches the green, at this play, they lose a point, or the red person gains a point. So let's create a couple of variables that are going to keep track of the score. Okay, let's have player 1 and player 2. Player 1. Alright, and player 1 will keep track of his score here. And let's make one for, I'm in the data area now. Now I'm going to make one for player 2. Alright, now we'll keep track of player 2's score here. Alright, so, alright, let's say that if the balloon touches green, then player 1 gets a point, right? So let's see, this is what's cool about this, is it'll sense that. So if this sprite is touching the color green, I click right there, and then click on the color I want. So if the sprite is touching green, then player 1, the score goes up by 1. So let's change player 1. Score goes up by 1. Right. Let's just see what happens here. Alright. Does it happen? Go. Oops. Oops. Let's not put this turn in there yet. Alright, we better get him to point in the direction 90. There. Whoa, see? He's sitting there touching it, so his score is racking up. Okay, stop. Alright, so, well, we at least got that part to work, and we would also want there to be a if statement that says if the balloon is touching red, if it's touching, so I'll click on that color, and if it's touching red, then player 2, we're going to change player 2's score by 1. Alright, So let's see, point in direction. Oh, I just thought of another idea. Can we go point into a direction random, I wonder? I don't see that, so pick a random number from 1 to 180. Oops, yeah, and let's go here. Okay, so it went there, so let's try it again. I picked that random direction. Very good. Alright, so you see what's happening here? Oops, it went down there this time. So every time I double click this, it's going to go in a different direction. So wait, so 1 to 180, let's go from 1 to, let's go negative 180 to 180. Now it's starting to, there we go. Alright, so, alright, here we go. So, now, we want, now, we want to create something that says that if the balloon touches black, alright, so let's grab another if. If it touches black, what do you think we want it to do? This isn't what I want you guys to do here. If it's touching black, then I want it to like turn 15 degrees. Yep. And I want it to turn 15 degrees and then bounce out of here and move 10 steps. Oh. Okay, very good. Did you see it bounce? Did you see it bounce? Alright, so let's start it again. It's going to start, it's going to point in some random direction, and it's going to go to this middle point, and then it's going to start moving. If it touches black, it's going to turn and keep moving. If it touches green, then player 1 gets a point. If it touches red, player 2 gets a point. So here we go. Boom, bounce, bounce, bounce. It's bouncing. Oh, that's not good. Oh, but it's moving up here. What if we change that rotate turn degrees to something like 40 degrees? No, that doesn't seem to work. What about 49 degrees? Let's start it again. Why does that happen? I had it working before. Well, for today, perhaps you could figure that part out. Maybe you could figure out how to get our balloon to not swirl in circles like that. What if it turned maybe 3 degrees? Where did it even go? See, there's a lot of thought process here that goes through it. 3 degrees isn't good. 10 degrees. I don't know. I'm just wanting to. This must be turn. Point in direction. That's maybe what I'm looking for. Point in direction. Point in direction. Okay, well, that's something we'll have to think about. But in the meantime, I'd better make a couple of paddles as sprites. So I'm going to create a rectangle. Oops, I'm going to make it smaller. So maybe about like that. Except I'd like it to be black. So let's change let's just erase it. Alright, let's create this. Let's make it black. Smaller line. Maybe about like that. Alright, so we've got a sprite here. It's going to be a paddle. And it's going to be here. Well, let's duplicate that. So I right click and then duplicate. Alright, and then I put a paddle over here also. And I need to program those also. So let's go to the script of Sprite 2. Now, if this person is going to be sitting on the left side of the keyboard, so we'll choose keys on the left side that will correspond to like a Q and a Z. So we will say when I'm going to the events button, when let's say the Q key is pressed, then we want this thing to go up. We want the Y direction. You know, we have X and Y axis. We want the Y direction to change by 10. So it's going to go up 10. And let's say that when the Z button, or Z, when the Z button is pressed, then we will change the Y by -10. It'll go down 10. Alright, so let's check that out. So I'm going to use Q and Z as my up and down. So up, 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 down, down, down. That's the trouble there. So this thing's gonna... There it goes. Hi! Okay, sorry, I was interrupted there. So I'm still using my Q and Z to go up, down. So what I want to do, it seems to be inching towards this way. I want to make it... Ah, goodness, there's got to be a way to make that balloon not just go in a pattern like that. But you can see what happens. I can use my up and down arrows. But actually, I wanted this to go with sprite number 2 and use sprite number 3. So in sprite 3, we'll use the up and down arrows. And then for sprite 2, we'll use when certain keys are pressed. Okay? And the Q and the Z. Well, anyway, and you'll just make it move in the Y direction 10 and Y in the direction -10. Now, this is a problem. This is a bug that needs to be worked out. Alright, we got to keep track of what code is going to what sprite. And but you can see. And we should also make it that this stuff doesn't continue forever. No, I don't like that. Instead of that, perhaps it will go until, repeat until the score. What should we make a score limit be? Let's make it until either this happens or that happens. So let's say that either, notice I'm bringing out an OR statement and a couple of equal statements, because I'm going to say I want this to go until either player 1's score is equal to 10. Of course we can change that. Or player 2 is equal to 10. So it's going to repeat all that's inside here, until somebody reaches 10. Alright? And we should, in the beginning also, set player 2 to 0, set player 1 to 0. There we go. So start. Now, there it goes. It's going to do its thing. Point in direction. Alright, duplicate that. Point in direction, pick a random number. That works, doesn't it? I don't know, I see some troubles with that, but, oh, like that. Oh, yeah. There's troubles with that, but hey, those are bugs that will be worked out. So follow along with what I did and see if you can work out some of those bugs and create a playable game that includes 4 sprites. One sprite that is a playing court, one sprite is the ball, and 2 sprites that are the paddles. And make sure that your field sprite has different colors so that the scores can be kept track of. Alright, now that's a lot to think about. We have created variables, changed directions, and made our sprite move, and used looping methods, repeats, and if-then statements. So there's a lot going on here. And I want you to do this on your own. You can discuss this with a neighbor, but I don't want you looking for solutions online. I want you to do something that you can be proud of and think about. The goal here isn't for you to have a product that you can turn in, although we want that. The product is to make you think through this and find all the different elements in here that are going to make our game work, okay, and do what you want it to do. So experiment with this. Follow along with what I did as a guide, and let's see if we can't create a game called Pong. Okay. So good luck to you, and I think you're going to enjoy this. This will be fun. All right. Bye bye.